Hello, welcome to the second Halcyon Razor review. 10 minutes was too long, I hear. Okay, well let's tackle a game which you'll be able to tackle in less than 10 minutes. I give you Metal Gear Solid Rising Revengeance. Do you want a game where you can engage in a sword mechanic that allows you to cut through your enemies at will? Do you want a game where set pieces and boss battles and the music is ramped up to ridiculous proportions, making you feel like a really badass of a cybernetic ninja? Do you want a game where you'll be able to cut anything and everything that you wish? Do you want to play as a cybernetic ninja with the ability to run up walls and run past bullets and deflect them with your sword? A game based on revenge, rising, and revengeance. Yeah, you can give this a try for one. Let's find out what this game's about. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. The presentation in Metal Gear Rising Revengeance is impressive, with a lot of the set pieces being the boss battles. They're very vivid, colourful, action-packed affairs with numerous cutscenes that lead into interactive quick-time events, interspersed with the Blade mode, which helps to feel a very strong sense of dynamicism within the gameplay. You'll always need to be on your toes, watching out for the next hit or watching out for the next strike. The graphics themselves are serviceable. Raiden looks very, very good. The backgrounds, though, nothing to write home about. Very drab, linear, grey experiences with the occasional piece of decor in the background. The only exception to this is the opening level, whereby Raiden will take on a Metal Gear Ray and runs up a building, down a clock tower that's crumbling on itself. It's an impressive set piece, but again, even in that particular level, the set piece design isn't that impressive. The soundtrack to the game is very, very impressive indeed. It'll get you ramped up for each boss battle. Each integral moment will leave you feeling like something immense and grand is about to happen. And there's a few songs on there that, while they repeat on a regular basis, they serve their purpose in simply highlighting the fact that Raiden is a badass cybernetic ninja and should be treated as such. The story itself, again, is nothing to write home about. It's simple and functional, if not a little bit forgettable. The idea being that Raiden is working for a PMC in Africa that's attacked by a new group called the Desperados, who seek to destabilise the region in favour of the war economy. The PMC in question has a number of cybernetic ninjas that have different philosophies that rival Raiden's, and it's his job, after a humiliating defeat, to dispatch these one by one, revealing the truth, which is that these PMCs are now responsible for harvesting the brains and organs of orphaned children in order to create a new generation of super soldiers. Yes, they go deep, but they treat it with about as disdain as you would imagine, considering there's very little on it. There's emotional impact in the initial shock of it, but as far as an ongoing premise, it's forgotten relatively quickly. Raiden's character is the thing that will take centrepiece here in his inward struggle to try and maintain his more violent tendencies. This is illustrated in the other strong aspect of the game, the boss battles. The boss battles are immensely impressive set pieces, with each feeling very unique in the way that they're dispatched. Monsoon, for instance, is a character that you cannot attack directly because he has the ability to disengage and part himself due to magnetic fields. He also has a telekinetic ability, which means that after a certain amount of damage he will retreat in order to throw various pieces of debris at you. Sundowner is another example, whereby he'll have a shield that if you attack directly will cause you explosive damage, so you have to wait, bide your time, and use the mastery of the Blade mode in order to take him down. Jetstream Sam is probably the weakest of these bosses, with the Senator Armstrong final boss battle being the most impressive, due to its progression in being difficult to hard to nigh impossible until you find his weakness. But each have their own feel, they all feel very unique, they all feel very satisfying, and in a way the drab environments and the lack of diverse enemies up until that point help to build these boss battles up to make them more unique, and perhaps that was a deliberate design in terms of making the player feel a sense of progression throughout each and every level. The game itself will not last too long. In fact, my playthrough on the hardest difficulty was no more than 6.5 hours, and the easier difficulties I suspect you could probably breeze through in around 4. But then again, this game isn't the type of game you sit down and hammer out 100-hour sessions, 20-hour sessions, whatever the case may be. This is the kind of game that's played very arcadey. It's structured in a way where you're given points and incentives to improve each level rather than progress through a story as this epic mammoth journey. Each level has its own set of accomplishments, and each level will be judged based on your performance, and you'll be graded as such, so you're more encouraged to try and improve that score and master it, as opposed to hit each level individually just the once. So be prepared for that going in. As far as the characters, Raiden, I'm not a big fan of the Metal Gear franchise, so I'm afraid I don't have much context to his character. He seems a little contradictive, considering that he has this Jack the Ripper character, which is also one of the modes that's available to you later on in the game, whereby you can engage a Ripper mode, where your damage and the amount of damage you take decreases, the amount of damage you dispense increases. However, I'm sure to fans of the series this may be a departure for the character, or it may be an embellishment, but as far as a standalone story, he's not a memorable protagonist in what he says, it's what he does. His character, the way you control him, his unlimited levels of badassery, it's enough to keep the game going in the right direction. But if nothing else, you need to play this game for the Blade mode. It's very interesting to be able to slice and cut in any direction that you wish, and also a lot of the backgrounds, while they may not be actually interactable in the way that it was originally envisaged, the mere fact that much, including the enemies, NPCs, and a myriad of the backgrounds and items within the world itself are fully interactive, it's tremendously fun just messing around with it. It's a great little toy, akin to Fruit Ninja, if fans of that series will remember. Imagine that, but on a grander scale with way more impressive graphics. And the last thing I will say is the gameplay is relatively shallow considering the source. I would have expected slightly more diverse gameplay. It's functional for what it does, and the Blade mode does keep the game rolling in the right direction. However, you'll only have a light and heavy attack which repeat. The only diversity you'll get is in the weapons accumulated through the game after dispatching the bosses themselves, with the occasional rocket launcher or side weapon. That sounds to say a rocket launcher is a side weapon, but nevertheless, these accessories will help dispatch enemies in a different way, but you'll be relying more often than not on your sword. I hardly ever used any of the other weapons unless the mission called for it. In short, Metal Gear Rising is a game, like I say, you're going to play through maybe once or twice. You'll play each level 7 or 8 times though, to master it, perfect each level, and try and attain the highest ranking that you possibly can. This game's good for short blasts. It's great for getting your mates on the couch and just allowing them to watch the spectacle of the boss fights. And if nothing else, the Blade mode is worth owning this game for. Therefore, I'd recommend you go pick it up, especially if you have a couple of mates over that you fancy just shooting the breeze, or if you need a break from playing something like Dynasty Warriors. This has floating mechanics too, so you'll definitely feel a kinship between the two. And that was Halcyon Razor review. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I know a lot of people aren't keen on the longer reviews. I hope this one's a little bit shorter and therefore a little bit more palatable, but sue me. It's my show, I'll do whatever the fuck I like. At the very least, I hope you found it educational, entertaining. It wasn't either of those things, but I hope you found it educational and entertaining nevertheless. But thank you so much for watching again. Please like, share and subscribe if you feel the inclination to do so, and stay tuned for the next episode, which should be dropping shortly. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.